Yeah, absolutely. What if it did happen to Armored Skeptic? A lot of people, have kind of said that by virtue of the fact that Creationist Cat made a comment. I mean, first of all, you have to take into account that Creationist Cat, and he wouldn't. Fortunately, he's not in this room. He wouldn't like me saying this, but he's kind of comedic, and so if someone who is comedic says something that, I mean, the initial comment that he made that caused the initial stir, not the doc drop, was sort of a hyperbolic joke. I mean, it was true, but it wasn't completely. It was kind of like an exaggeration, as comedians often do, and I
Like,
mean, I don't know if you
obviously
guys
he doesn't believe everyone's a sodomite, Obviously, some Christians are watching,
Yeah. But you
There's
guys,
gotta be at least
are you guys, what?
there's gotta be at least one psychopath that thinks that it's completely legit. I off his fucking mind, somewhere in the desert.
Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've sort of lost my train of thought on this. I mean, basically, just I feel like the guy. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I'll hand it over to you. If you guys want to ask me questions about it, that would probably be a lot easier than just kind of.
Have you gotten any crap for it? For the doc drop?
Yes. I mean, well, the first thing that I got crap for was the initial message before he ever doc dropped. The initial thing that that caused this sort of controversy on Creationist Cat's end is he said, and I might be slightly paraphrasing here, but he said, anyone that contributes to Atheist Ruse, that's what he goes by on Twitter, to his Patreon, please consider giving it to KKK. You'd get a bigger bang for your buck. Now, obviously,
you get like a free T-shirt or something.
Yeah. Well, they'd probably get a free T-shirt, and maybe a couple. Maybe you'd know that it goes to a couple cross burnings. And the thing is that with Atheism is Unstoppable, he also has a lot of kind of anti-Islamic content, so it would go to that. If you want your money just to go to good old-fashioned racism, then KKK is your bet. But I mean, I'm kind of joking here. Look, guys, do I think that that Atheism is Unstoppable is like a all-out cross-burning, KKK bigot? No, not at all. Like, this is the thing that a lot of people don't recognize. Like, racism is not an on and off switch. Okay, it's not either like you're totally racist or you're totally not. It's there are gradients.
They're in between.
Well, to see him,
they're in betweens as well. A lot of people don't understand that there can be in betweens.
Yes, and you can also not be a total racist and say something which can easily be construed as racist. That is indeed racist. And if he was able to look at because there are plenty of other things that we can look at and say, like, look, dude, this just is totally tinged with racism. But the main thing, the main quote that I think has been kind of criticized the most, which rightfully so, is his statement, which was something to the effect of, black people have been, what was it? Black people have a hard time in this country. No. Black people have a hard time in this country. What? Cry me a river. Maybe they should stop committing
all these crimes.
Crimes. Something like that. I mean, it's basically like we're paraphrasing, but just a tiny bit, And I mean,
how's my lighting?
Absurd.
How's my lighting doing?
Your lighting's pretty ominous and kind of you don't really see your face at all. Like,
I'm sorry.
It's
I
a
only
neat
had
silhouette, you know.
I only had one backlight for him.
that's better.
Right.
But so I'm sorry. Like I don't want to. I'm still kind of like trying to get used to being like a good guest on things like this. I hope I want to give you guys time to talk too. But yeah, let me, because I've said, you know, there's more that I can say about that particular quote. But let's start with that. I want to know what you guys each think of that quote.
I think it's just a lack of understanding of like the history of America. I mean, after his little exchange with you online, I was going to see if he did a follow-up video, but it seemed like he did like this weird PR thing where he speaks with like this crazy YouTuber who's all about figuring out how to live forever. And the dude was like a shut-in, didn't want to leave, didn't want to like fly on an airplane or anything because he wanted to live forever. So this is the guy that would talk to Atheist Rue. And it was like 2 hours of Atheist Rue describing how amazing England is and how his family goes to Wimbledon and how all the minorities are sort of dirtying it up and how America is already at that point, which he's not liking. And it's just strange where he's just completely unapologetically racist.
Holy fuck! He sounds like one of these super rich white people who don't understand that the general things that poor.
That person, what's that?
Yeah, well, he's just like someone was like pointing out like he was like some writer just for like one of the smaller like clickbait blogs. I think it was called like People Projects or something. And it was just really strange because obviously he's probably coming from a point of like privilege, you know, his family being like from Milton, maybe like some father or someone knew somebody in his with the company that he's writing with now to get him into that position. Because obviously a lot of those writing ones are about like who you know, and then from there it's just but as long as you don't like, you know, as long as you don't be Atheist Rue. Like in his own writing, I'm pretty sure he can do whatever he wants, publishing wise, and not get fired. And I don't know. It's funny. It's like instead of being Atheist Rue, he's Atheist Unstoppable 1 through 4. All accounts are in use. Obviously, he knows everything he's saying is deplorable, or else he wouldn't need all the little costumes on his little CGI kangaroo.
No, some people just enjoy the anonymity because they don't want to have their real life connected to their persona on the internet, which is understandable. Like Armor
RPG
Skeptic
Minx
does that.
Yeah, RPG Minx does the same thing. She was on she was on the Drunken Pet. She has I think she has like 2 million subscribers as of right now.
Well, after the things like Thunderfoot was having to suffer through with having his like university like mailed, like people trying to get him kicked out of a math department for his views on, you know, like reporting in video games. Sure. After seeing things like that, I can just understand why everyone wants to be anonymous. You know.
Well, we'll see. You know, the reason why I have been anonymous is because we don't want Creationist Cat didn't want people to think, you know, he didn't want people to know that he can't do everything for himself with his miracle power, okay?
Yeah.
And, but, you know, I mean, look, I don't want to put on airs and make it seem like when he did doc drop me that it was some horrible inconvenience. There was, I mean, there were people who, there were 2 people who contacted me on Twitter who kind of went and they kind of like dug up things about me. They found one of my personal YouTube accounts, and they found a video that they thought was supposed to be incriminating. I mean, one of them did, and I mean it wasn't. I mean, because I'm the kind of guy that really doesn't give a fuck. Like you could probably tell from that the video that I made that I don't really embarrass very easily. But
that's the best way to be.
Found this video. Yeah, I agree. And so he found this video that which I only showed very briefly in the video, but he was like, haha, I dug this up And I went and I temporarily took it off YouTube. The reason for that is because at that point, Creationist Cat was kind of racing to get his video done. Both I and Creationist Cat, we were both kind of afraid that maybe Atheist Rue was going to make this video saying like, here is your Creationist Cat. Look at this asshole, right? That's the only reason why, like, you know, I didn't want those things on air at the time. But these people, you know, they contacted me and they were like, this video makes you look pretty bad. And so I went and I took it down, and the same guy contacted me right after that once it was taken down, and he realized that it was taken down, and he said, aha, I thought you were going to take it down, so I made a copy of it. Now, you tell me, I mean, that's creepy, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that like I'm not saying that I was fucking terrified or anything.
Like,
I'm not saying that I was. What's that?
You didn't like lock the doors, shut your light.
Yes, very well. I mean, who knows? If I was in, I'm not in like, you know, a major city or something like that. But if I was, then, you know, I would not be at all fucking surprised with his weirdo, like, you know, band of cronies. Some of those people have major fucking problems, and I really do think that Atheism is Unstoppable recognizes that, and that's what it was. It was like a rally cry to his, you know, dogs to sick the you know, the bad guy, and the fucking thing is that, like, I mean, I really just sorry. If I hadn't said anything, it probably would not have, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it probably would not have kind of, like, you know, been at like, people would now probably, very well may not know who I am, but I just couldn't allow Creationist Cat and I to be kind of bullied and intimidated in that way. And that's exactly what it was, you know? And, there was one other thing that transpired over the course of that, which I'd like to tell you guys about. Which do you guys know? You probably know who Jenny McDermott is. I
didn't hear about what her opinion on what the whole Rue thing was, but I know about everything up until even her own friend told her not to like false DMCA drunken peasants a while back, and then I know she's like encouraging Atheist Rue being doxxed, right?
Yeah, well, in particular, she did encourage. I mean, like, basically, she retweeted, or she either retweeted the tweet, or maybe she, I think she just wrote a tweet of her own saying, "Atheism is unstoppable." Just did Vadim Newquist, aka Creationist Cat's information, and I wrote to her. And, you know, I've had very limited interactions with her. I know that she was a Creationist to some extent, so I've kind of always been hands-off with her, never, like, really given her a problem on anything. But I didn't know what the fuck to make of this. So I basically contacted her, and I said, like, privately, and I said, why are you retweeting this information that's really low? And then she got back to me and said, I'm sorry, I didn't think it was real, and hold up, before I go on, what the fuck do you mean you're in agreement? So then, you know,
I'm going to step out for a minute. I'm going to leave it recording, but I'm going to step out. I got to go use it.
Okay, go for it.
All right.
So yeah, guys, basically what happened was that I said to her, I said, like, look, just... She apologized. She was like, I'm sorry, I've been harassed by this guy for the last year. And I said, yeah. And so I said to her, I said, look, if you want to make this better, take down the tweet and then tweet something that is, you know, that doesn't have any doc dropping information in it. And so she makes another tweet and she says, Atheist Rue, aka Atheism is Unstoppable, aka Devin Tracy of Los Angeles, and she said of Los Angeles, where he lives. Just doc drop
call to
creationist.
actions.
Sorry, what?
Oh, when those like call to actions, as they say, once you give out the address. You like O'Reilly used to do it back in the day with Dr. David Tiller, and he'd constantly say, Dr. David Tiller in such and such city, and like constantly build up this rhyme. It's the same thing. It's kind of weird. It's like the same behavior used to happen before the internet, and now with the internet, like everyone can do it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like you have to ask yourself, what is the end game when you're saying something like that? When you're saying like this person lives, you are hope. There's no other reason. What are you trying to entertain people with a little morsel of information that they live in Los Angeles? No, you're not fucking trying to do that. You're hoping that maybe somebody that you know is out there, and if they happen to see them, or maybe they're fucking crazy enough to actually stalk this person, that they'll fuck with this person. And the other thing that you're trying to do is maybe that won't even happen. That's probably not going to happen. But what also very well might happen is that the person who you're doc dropping will look at it and get uptight about that. Will think, holy shit, maybe somebody will do this. No, it turns out that, that Devin is very open about where he lives. He doesn't give a fuck. I think he's kind of said before that most of the time that he lives in Los Angeles, but it doesn't matter. It's the intention. It's like, what are you trying to do here? And that is the thing, to tell you the truth, I mean, I'm in fucking Florida right now. I don't care. I'm telling everyone that, but I'm telling people that on my own terms. Yeah. I'm not like letting some asshole who is trying to shake me down share that information with the world. And that's the difference with this. And that's why it's doc dropping. And the last thing that I'll say is that with Jenny McDermott, I think quite diplomatically asked her to take that down a couple of times. And I said, look, two wrongs don't make a right, and this, you're creating a double standard here. And finally I said to her, I said, Jenny, your heart's in the right place, but your brain is up your ass. And if you doc drop him, doc drop me, And she in the end, she just refused. She sent me a fucking article from Rebecca Watson that
that's the greatest source ever.
This is like our introduction to Ginny McDermott, is her supporting the whole doc dropping of people who support Gamergate as a whole retaliation for doc dropping people who are against Gamergate. So this is like her.
Do you guys know who Shuon Head is? Armored Skeptic's lady friend.
No,
I think I know her. Yeah. With the eyeliner and all that.
Yeah, the chick. She did the thing.
Shuon Head is his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah, if you look at some of his tweets, he's like, "Oh, I'm very protective of what is mine." So I think that can be interpreted as basically they bang in their spare time.
I'll just not interpret for safety measures.
All right then. Yeah.
It's perfectly okay. I used to be afraid of being doc dropped because in the town where I live, I'm very open about some of my beliefs in my sexuality and my gender identity where I am. But the thing is, I live in southern Indiana, so people aren't as accepting as they should be. So I basically just decided, I said screw it, and I just put out where I live in my videos, stuff like that. I don't have that big of a following. I have a Twitter, and I think I have 500 followers, but other than that, I'm not really that big of a presence. I'm not at the top of everyone's list.
Yeah, for me, it's this weird thing where nowadays you have to survive the court of public opinion in order to participate in markets and get employment. I feel like that's the real goal of doc dropping, is almost like a Jim Crow of public shame. Where it's if you don't fit the right profile person, then we're gonna try to make sure that you get a lot of negative attention and no one wants to touch you, no one wants to talk to you, no one wants to hire you for anything. So
Yeah.
very much against that.
At the place where I work, somebody said something about my YouTube, and my boss asked me about it, and she said that I might have to watch, and I'm like, okay, whatever. It's like, I understand that they're gonna look you up on social media and stuff like that, but at the same time, I don't really care what they think. I know I have to because they're an employer, but it's my personal information. If I'm gonna create content for that, I'm going to take risks in knowing the fact that people don't agree with me. The whole internet isn't just one big bundle of love.
Yeah.
Right. Me and George live 28 minutes away, so I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah.
By the way, George, it's not southern Indiana.
The
10 out
town
of 10,
where I live
George.
basically isn't very accepting. I can say where I live. I live in Noblesville, Indiana.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, D-Time Johnny's going to be knocking on my door.
Why wouldn't you want that stallion in your house? Mm.
Oh, is
So
that what Brett
how did
King said?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask you guys a question?
Stallion.
Yeah, what's your
Oh, yeah.
question?
Yes.
What's your question?
I'm just curious how you guys all came to, well, I guess to be friends and put together, decide to do this
Johnny's
podcast.
calling. Johnny's calling, so should I add him to this call?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Jim, Johnny?
Hey, what's up?
Nothing. Can you accept my contact request, or?
Yeah, I'm accepting it. I'm not on right now because I want to do another.
Oh,
I hope-
okay.
I might-
Accept it, and then I'll add you to the other call, okay?
What's that? I just accepted. I sent you one.
Okay. Let me see if I got it.
All right. Well, I wanted. Let me turn on my other computer.
Alright, give me a second. Let me answer this. Oh, God.
Anyways, I could tell you about how me and George met. If you
Yeah.
want.
I met him at Dungeons and Dragons.
Wait, are we live still?
Yeah, we're still live.
Oh, okay.
Good.
All right.
It's probably fine.
Give me 2 minutes, okay? I'll be right back.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'll
this is
spin my
that's actually really well. That's actually really good. So, I'll get back. I'll call back Johnny, and then I'll add you guys to it. Okay.
Damn it, George.
Okay. Okay. For this to work, I need you to accept my contact request so we can.
I'm looking for it. Yeah. Rule hack.
Okay. Let me see. I'll close out of this call, and I'll try to see. It's being stupid. I'm sorry about this. We've had trouble on that.
No. If we don't fall on our face, we don't learn anything, man. So you just go. All right. All right. Go for it. You want me to hang up or what?
I'll hang up.
Oh, gross.
Okay. Is everybody here?
George, what's up?
Oh, hi. Yeah,
George, did
I resent him a contact request. I hope he responds.
the G-Time forces destroy the internet?
Yeah, they did. Okay. I'm gonna have to do a shit ton of editing tonight. I'm not gonna sleep. So after we're done with the official video, do you guys just want to stay up and talk some more, or does I need something?
Yeah, we can all sit around the campfire and smoke some crack.
you have
Delightful.
work tomorrow?
Stick around until around 11 or so. I do have a shit ton of work, but I usually work well into the evening, so I 11 is my kind of cutoff time.
All
right.
Okay, he has the crappiest Skype ever. I'm sorry, Johnny. Still love me. He lives in Squaw Valley. I just thought, oh no. I think he has this on his Facebook.
Damn it, George.
Yeah, I know. You okay.
So can I say something?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Say it.
So Vadim, how much?
Say it. Say it.
He paid me in high fives and rainbows.
I did.
Yeah, you forgot that part?
I'm pretty sure I know what he paid you.
I sold
It's
my
okay,
soul. I sold my soul.
I'll keep it a secret.
I sold my
Okay.
soul.
It's okay, George. You didn't need it anyways.
Yeah. I lost that a long time ago. If you live in Indiana for too long, that's what happened. That's what happens to you. You lose your soul eventually.
So you guys tell me how you all can't. Is it like a drunken peasants kind of a connection?
I've known
Yeah,
Duncan.
it's a Facebook group.
I've known Duncan for a few years, and I've known these guys for like a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, me and George play D&D.
Yeah, we're nerds.
Oh, really? You guys on the 5th edition?
Yeah.
Obviously.
You guys
Nice.
definitely look like
Yeah.
brothers. I mean, has anyone told you that? I'm sure someone has at some point, right?
Me and Duncan?
I don't know. This is a weird coincidence. Like me and George. Like I'm in New Mexico. Like completely
Yeah.
different.
There was
like,
no connection between us.
I think
Yeah.
I see two white people with glasses. They look
Exactly.
like
You can't tell.
And
someone,
similar haircuts.
yeah, no, it's like all white people. Like you find some guy in England that's gonna look exactly just like us. Like probably like millions.
Some people say that I have a Hitler haircut.
Ah.
If I parted.
But yeah, no, we just joined from the Drunken Peasant Facebook group, and probably just a lot of making fun of the other like Drunken Peasants knockoffs. Like, was it the Inebriated podcast? What's that called? That's always
Unfunny, the douchiest guy
Right.
ever. Makes no
yeah, the
That's
unfunny
hilarious.
comedian guy. Yeah.
I
That's
hate-
pretty much the general hate for other Drunken Peasants fan podcasts. I guess probably brought us together. Right?
Yeah, but I got a message from Ben on Facebook, and he said we were better than unfunny. So I'm like, okay, that's fine in my
Right.
book. My goal is to get at least 20,000 subscribers. I don't think I'll get that much.
Wait, I did see a photograph recently. That I thought that was something that he made, like some sort of video that he was making to mock all of those people. I didn't know that was something that he once used. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
a fucking, what a dipshit. What?
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
god. What a
that's the
hypocrite.
original lineup.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like, I mean, sometimes people can do things that totally piss you off, and you realize who they are, and whatnot, and then you can, like, none of those people. I mean, all those people have pretty much stayed consistent to who they are. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So, like, for him to kind of. Wow, that's just a big fucking wow. He's such a douchebag. Oh my god.
Secretly,
it's like,
secretly, I think the only reason why he made that video against Jacqueline Gillen is because he's jelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and the same thing against TJ, and then with the
Oh,
all
yeah.
the
We're talking
church
about
bashing.
Ryan Wiley here.
Oh
What
no,
about-
the atheist Rue.
Oh.
But like that too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was
See-
gonna say, if we're talking about Ryan Wiley, I have a whole bunch of shit on that asshole. I hate him with a passion.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, it's funny that he just talks about like shit about his job in politics. It's like we did the same thing. Like he has his math degree, but gets him nowhere, and just the weaseliness. Like him and Rude do the same sort of thing where they have to sort of.
They're gay lovers. You guys didn't know this?
Oh yeah, right.
But come on. I mean, look, Ryan Wiley is annoying and all, and he can be very disingenuous, but I mean, he's just in like a totally different league of like,
Bullshit.
just assholes.
Well, before Atheist Rue, I never knew of anybody openly like doxing someone. Like even like Captain No Awesome and like Brett Keane and folks like that, they'll deny it. If you say like, "Hey, you doxed me to their face," they never openly say, "Hey, I just doxed you."
Yeah, fucking Brett Keane and his goddamn posse with
Well, but that's
He-Man.
that is the it's all part of the pomposity of that man. He is one of the most ego-driven motherfuckers I've ever seen in my life, which is why in his like videos he'll portray himself like his fucking kangaroo character will have like a six-pack and like just a perfect male body, like just totally fucking diesel and shit, and like every way that he represents himself, that he tries to represent himself, is like trying to like project this very strong image. So I think in his mind he can do no wrong, which is why, like, you know, he had no compunction to do it and then stood behind it like an idiot.
Yeah.
The thing I don't like about him the most is how he openly admits he used to bully people in school. Like,
the Vigilant Christian did the same thing.
it seems like a lot of these people who have low self-esteem are just fucking cunts on the internet.
You know,
and, well, that seems like a lie too. Like, he probably was the one getting bullied, and he feels like those guys are so cool, man. They used to like push my head in the sand, so I'm gonna pretend to be just like them when I grow up.
yeah, it's like, why would you want to emulate that if you experienced that? And if he didn't emulate it and was the asshole who did it, that's, I think, even worse.
Yeah.
You know? I do have to say, though, I have, you know, something to say about the Vigilant Christian. I don't think the Vigilant Christian is an asshole in a certain respect. Don't get me wrong. Like, he is definitely pushing all this very obviously absurd bullshit that just it's fear mongering, and it gets all of these people like just more deluded than they already are. All that is horrible. Oh, and then also just the homophobic bullshit. Terrible, terrible. But, you know, in my interactions with him, and I continue to have them because I think that I'm going to interview him as or not.
If you'll actually show up, that would be amazing.
What's that?
If you'll actually show up to like a live chat, that'd be amazing.
Well, he's actually said to Creationist Cat, he said that you know, that the Drunken Peasants are asking him to do the show, and he wants to do the show, but he wants to do the Creationist Cat chat show first because he thinks that I'd give him kind of like an easier time.
Can you bring Creationist Cat on the air right now?
I know, like I said, he's at
West with Phelps
at a meet and greet. Yeah, can't be done. Sorry.
Yeah. He's stopping them all from getting cancer, so the rage doesn't overtake them. You know, they just gotta. That's their one solace, is they pet the cat. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But about what the fuck was his name? Vigilant Christian. That guy's more slippery than an oiled bicep. So.
Yes, there is something to be said for that. I mean, like, look, I'm not saying that he isn't disingenuous in 1,000 different ways, most of which I think he's like he doesn't even consciously realize.
Well, I mean, I think that's just your inner racism in him because he's a French person.
Yeah, I have so much white guilt that I just.
My God, it just
against
burns.
those French persons.
Have you guys ever watched
Burns like
Community?
a white sun.
Have you guys ever watched Community? That show with Joe.
Yeah.
Not much of it, but I'm a little aware of it.
What are you trying to reference?
Donnie wants me to call him. No, I don't know.
Call him.
Yeah, he hasn't added me as a Skype call, and I don't know how I'll add you guys to it.
Oh.
The same way you made it like this? You just add us to this, call him mate?
No, but I can't do that. I
think?
can only share contacts. If you guys want to
Well.
accept all his requests.
It just sounds like you're using a lot of man-time logic on me there, George. Like,
I'll just share his contact with you and accept his requests, and then I'll add you to the call. Okay?
Cool.
All right.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, God. Okay. It's working.
All right, cool.
It's okay. Okay, I'll have to share contacts, send you the contacts. I'll send you...
Well, I don't know. You got another group of guys sending contacts, right? It's not just you.
Yeah, it is not just me. You know Creationist Cat? Did you hear about that whole thing that happened?
No, I don't. I'm not. I've been working on my projects, or on our project in the bigger picture, but I don't know. You know, I'm just I'm along for the ride. And you're the producer.
I just sent you the contacts. I'm gonna go use the restroom, so go send them requests.
What's that?
I'm gonna go use the restroom, so go send them contact requests.
Who's that? The people who are doing the... you're not doing the podcast?
I am doing the podcast. They're the people who are on the podcast. In order to set this up, because you are my contact on Skype, I had to you have to send them contact request through Skype and then add them to the call.
Who? Rice King?
Yeah, Lorkness, Drunken Pancreas, and Vadim.
Well, dude, make it right, and so I'll be on the next one.
All right.
All right. Talk.
Really kind of a crazy mind fuck, because if you think about it, like we get along, he and I just, in our messages together, we get along pretty well. Like we show each other the kind of respect that we want, to be for others to give us. So we respect that from the fact that that we're not kind of, I don't know, treating each other like an asshole and whatnot. And like at the end of the day, he probably thinks the same exact thing about me. He probably thinks Vadim is a really nice guy and he does all these things right. But at the end of the day, he just doesn't realize that the Illuminati is trying to, poison our minds and mind control. And that triangles on Beyonce's dresses means that, she's trying to, with the homosexual agenda, take over the world. You know what the fuck I'm talking about here.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I saw firsthand. I used to hang out with a DJ friend, Javier, and he used to be all up into his conspiracy stuff. And when you're doing mushrooms with the guy and listening to his mixes, that's fine. But then it gets to the point where one of his conspiracy guys starts, getting political and using the same disassociation from logic to explain why, folks from Mexico coming from America are the worst thing possible. When it's just Javier, you naturalized. You know what I'm saying? You are exactly what this guy is talking against, and you're still just listening to all these conspiracies.
Totally.
That wasn't the straw that broke the camel's back for you. You just completely dived in, and it speaks to the power of just the
suggestion and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it doesn't end at religion. Because Javier is not religious, and then suddenly he's all talking about conspiracies about was it alien angels and
the Illuminoodles and stuff.
Yeah, strange,
spaghetti
strange stuff.
Oh, and G-Time Johnny said he wouldn't come on.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's secretly Catholic time terrorist. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Apparently the Skype he doesn't understand it. So.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
No way. He's on the Drunken Peasants before. I don't believe that. Maybe he's been. Is this broadcasting live to people? Could people watch this right now?
It's a closed recording.
I think we're gonna. Yeah, I think we're gonna turn into a video.
Because I mean, is there a possibility that he could be watching this and he didn't like what we said about him earlier?
I don't think that was anything.
It's not live. We're not live streaming.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't. Okay.
Oh, I said.
Yeah, I mean, if G-Time Johnny is watching, he should know I love him. Every cell of my body, and
I love
he
you.
Wants me to be his Padawan. He wants me to be his Padawan in a way.
I mean, he's a cool guy. I just wish he'd be more eloquent in describing what the heck he believes in.
Yeah, it's weird.
If he did, then he wouldn't be G-Time Johnny.
Yeah. I know.
It's
I'm
sort
just
of the Sam Harris thing, where half the population.
His journey our journey, so I think he thinks that I'm one of his lackeys, and I'm willing to just join in. I'm all right, time doesn't exist.
Maybe it's the royalty, right?
Yeah.
We should ask him to make a dictionary.
Yeah, we need a G-Time dictionary. Except he wouldn't write one because words are, I don't know what the fuck.
Words don't exist.
Words don't exist.
The text he sent me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You are the boss.
Do we gotta put metal in the background before you read it though? Since it's G-Time Johnny.
Yeah, I'll put my cup. My cup is. Yeah, my little.
You're such a
bobblehead.
professional, George.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
And I'll put this.
Is that a Freddy Krueger bobblehead?
No, that was a Rick from.
Oh, from Walking Dead.
Yeah, Carl.
Yeah.
Carl, his kid. Right, so,
Coral.
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 Right. So we'll have you on around 10:30ish. Does that work, or do you want to do it earlier? That's my response. Then he says, "You are the boss. I'm putting together a podcast for G Timers. If we can work together, well, we'll have a worldwide audience fast. I know you were working on production. I'm okay with that. I want to be able to podcast once a week anywhere in the world. I cannot do production and do that. The pay will be a test of purity. I don't know how much now, but if we work together, we'll have more money than we can spend. It's up to you."
See, that's surprising coming from G-Time Johnny.
Yeah.
I thought money was what was that? A
Oh.
Was it
conspiracy or
Mantam
whatever?
Paradigms, dog?
Yeah.
I gotta
Have
say,
more.
I'm astonished that the guy can work a fucking toaster with his like just how like trippy his brain is. Like I almost like the fact that he could like work electronics well enough to make videos that he put on YouTube and whatnot. And also like he must understand conventional English because he has to read shit to like, kind of figure out how to do these things. That to me, that's just really funny. And it makes me think like, don't you think that he has to, in some circumstances, talk to people normally? He's got to like buy groceries and shit.
Yeah,
It's it's all a G-time construct, don't you know?
Yeah, it's grocery time. Exactly. Right.
Grocery time, Johnny. Giving you savings better than Kroger since
Sure.
1944.
It'd be a trip because I know on the Reddit, some people have posted like early G-Time Johnny videos when he just like gets up into the mountains, and I guess he's into like one of those Ponzi schemes where he's like selling like nutrients and like pills to people, like one of those Herbalifes. And I guess a year of that, of being up in the mountains by himself, he awakened. I think we're the ones
George.
all behind.
I'm calling one of the guys who wants to be on. So
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I was about to say, George, your phone.
Yeah, we can hear that.
Sorry.
Great.
Please don't kill me.
George is trying to hack into our brains. All this. That's the way I was all.
Okay, I don't know how you dial. I typed in the number, but it won't like call.
Let me take a look.
Or
There's a button in the top right corner, and it looks like a call button.
oh no, it's a dynamic view. I don't know.
God damn it, George.
I could call him on my phone.
You know,
and just be-
I just came up with a pretty great money making scheme. We all of us we could do it. We could all pocket the money. It would okay.
It didn't answer.
It would be incredibly unethical to do this, but I'm just saying. We could say we're making a G-Time Johnny documentary. The guy looks like, who would not want to see a documentary on that guy and learn like everything behind it? His crazy life and whatnot.
Shit, I'm curious. I mean, like, he looks like he's naked in most of his videos.
Oh, no, he was shirtless
Yeah, like,
when I first Skyped him. I'm like, dude, can you like put on?
I just want to
shirt?
know. Yeah, I just want to know, like where he gets his weed up in the middle of the mountains. Does he grow his own? Like,
Obviously, he grows it his own. It's the best way.
I would think that there are some pretty good mushrooms that grow at that altitude. So that alone might explain it.
No.
Yeah, he seems pretty self-sustainable. What he's got, like one of those like satellites.
He's G-Time Johnny the second. He is actually half horse, half man. That's what he doesn't show in the videos.
Makes it. No, he's the centaur who trained was it Achilles and like Jason?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great
He's
mythology
another-
character.
Yeah.
But that's another thing that I've never even thought about before. Like, it's not cheap to like have a fucking like place it in the. And I guess he must be in some town that is like. I can't imagine that.
It has to be California.
I'm starting to get a little like it's hard for me to stay on track, but yeah, I mean, how the fuck does he afford to do all these things? Being the fact that he looks like, just your standard homeless guy in New York City.
Yeah, he's no PewDiePie. Like I don't see him making a lot of money from YouTube to just like be out in the middle of nowhere. What is your opinion on the whole Gamergate situation. I'm not sure about like everyone else. I don't want anyone to feel like they're the first one to get their foot in the fire. So I'd say
I would say. Oh, go on.
Oh yeah, like I was definitely like a bit riled up in the beginning, but I'd say both sides are just completely reprehensible at this point. I definitely see the points both make, and I'm definitely on the Gamergate side of the points. I'd also consider myself to be like also on like the feminist side. I definitely understand like the issues that they're raising up.
You idiot, answer me.
But you got fun. But yeah, like honestly, with all like the doxing and everything, like I just realized both sides are a bit irreprehensible. Like everyone needs to really calm down on it, and there really isn't an issue.
Has there really been evidence for Gamergate doxing people?
Yeah. Like both sides have doxed.
Yeah.
Like that's a known. You know, there are known unknowns. This is a known. Both sides have like been caught by the police doxing each other.
I think I might upload this like Saturday, maybe Sunday.
Cool.
All right.
That'd be neat little like source for people to watch after their Friday binge on some DP.
Yeah. That's what the original plan to do was, but then our guy Rob left because he's a piece of no.
He's garbage.
Yeah.
Fucking garbage, Rob.
This is to you, Rob.
But what about you, Vadim? Like, how do you and Creationist Cat, I guess, feel about the whole Gamergate situation? I know it could be very divisive.
Well, Creationist Cat, I think, would probably be very indifferent to all of it. They're all worthless, hellbound sodomites to him. But as far as I'm concerned, first of all, I do not kind of consider myself, and they're treated as if they are 99% morons.
Yeah.
And they're treated as if there are no women within their ranks. All those things are absolutely untrue.
I'm gonna stop for another minute.
Huh?
I think he has to go for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Please continue.
That being said, I do agree that there is, like, I don't think that even the Gamergate side kind of acknowledges the self-sabotage that goes on. See, this is one of the worst things, one of the worst things about the internet in general, is that it's created this environment where did you guys see? I guess it was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Is that the newest Planet of the Apes movie?
Yeah, with the dam.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I thought that movie was brilliant. Okay, it was one of my favorite films of last year, and one of the reasons why I think or perhaps the reason why I think that it is just a beautiful work of art, is because I think that it conveys a very timely message, which is just 1,000% true, and I don't think that I've seen it kind of conveyed quite as eloquently or like it really at all in other films. And what that is that they're usually in most groups, not all, but in most groups, you have a lot of great people, and then all it takes is one bad egg, and to just sabotage everything. And both of those sides, they both they both have maybe like 95% good people, like 4% people who are pretty negative, but they're also followers, and then like 1% who's just poison, to catch. And it's so easy for those sides to just sabotage everything, and it fucking sucks. And because of the nature of the internet and how anonymous it is, I don't see how that can ever at this point be changed. It would take some like huge fucking sea change in like just in like I'm gonna start sounding like G-Time Johnny, but like a paradigm shift, man.
Right.
That would make people be more fucking honest, and they're not.
That's
not gonna happen.
Let's all do an estimate on how old G-Time Johnny is. Let's do a guess.
My guess is he's like 57 to 62.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, like, to think, like, because obviously he's probably been like a tobacco smoker, like, before, the good stuff. So I assume that's probably going to put a good, like, 5 years on any of our guesses. So definitely in that 50s range, like, past 40.
Maybe early 70s, maybe late
Yeah.
60s, late 60s.
I think 70s is a little too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with something around 48.
48? What? No way, dude.
Yeah, no, like, well, my grandpa smokes. That's another tough one too.
Yeah,
Don't judge age.
considering the smoking.
Yeah,
I'm thinking around
it'll age
maybe.
you.
I'm thinking around maybe like 52 to like
Dad's
56.
54 and
because-
Yeah, I was just about to say, my dad's
Yeah, George, your dad looks like a fucking fossil.
Yeah. He was born in
So
like
kind.
yeah. He was born in like 1961, so I think it was right before the Cuban Missile Crisis.
But like another weird thing I find about the whole like, Gamergate situation is how it sort of lent legitimacy to people who had just been like generally dismissed by logical folks. Like I remember Breitbart got busted for hiring James O'Keefe to lie about Acorn. To get that whole like private organization shut down, and Acorn, like this is never really explained, but they're just a group that provides like legal aid to people who cannot afford their own lawyers.
No, it was a few, I think a few other things besides legal aid, and it was a vital thing within those communities. You know?
Yeah. It stopped like landlords from defrauding tenants. It helped people register for voting. Things that you would need like a representative or like rich people would get easy access to. And it's kind of weird. Like Breitbart, like that's my first introduction to them is them hiring James O'Keefe to do that. Like back when I was in high school, and to see them now come back as like, oh, like we're the people who have all the pro Gamergate issues, so now you should believe us and like understand that feminism is trash. This is what Gamergate has discovered, and
that's really interesting. Like I have been wanting to see someone kind of call that out. That
yeah.
I really think you're right. That Breitbart, I think that they were really smart, and they were like, we can get this set because there's no one kind of right now who is representing them in the media, and because they're really atrocious. I mean, they're climate change deniers. There's just a lot of ways that they are really off the mark, and really just kind of working against the interests of people in general. I would say. Yeah. And so yeah, I think it's very unfortunate. That's a big reason why I really I totally I don't know. There's one guy on YouTube who is very big, and you know what? I see a lot of good things about him, but I also see a lot, and the person that I'm talking about, shit, I hope I'm not like starting some drama here.
Can I guess it real quick?
Yeah.
Sargon?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, before you jump in the bus, I'll I guess I'll take the first bullets here. Like, yeah, Sargon. He sounds like a crazier person. Like, I kind of want to be nice to him on issues because he'll talk about like issues in England, and he'll sound like someone like a progressive or like a liberal from America when he's talking about like English issues on like taxes and like equality and whatnot. And then as soon as this Gamergate thing comes up, it's like he's putting on like a mask, or maybe he's trolling or trying to like ramp up things for an opinion, but he just loses all of his logic that he'd put on something like atheism or like avoiding the Tories in England.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a huge listener for him of his, and so. Honestly, I don't want to kind of make a definitive judgment of him in general. I have heard him say a lot of things that I completely agreed with about Gamergate. I have heard him say a lot of things that I was just like, this guy is very much on the mark. But He also, I mean, for one, I know that he supported Davis Arini. I don't know if you guys know who this guy is.
So I'm totally behind like his project, but I'm more of like a Jordan Owen guy. Like I follow Jordan Owen because he's a writer, and I definitely get the like sentiment that he's like a caring person. But the Dave, he rubs me the wrong way on looks alone.
And he should. And now that whole partnership, we're talking about it for anyone that doesn't understand. We're talking about there are these two guys, Davis Arini and Jordan Owen. Jordan Owen has been around YouTube for a long time. He was one of the people who kind of brought Venom Fang X, who was a deluded Christian apologist. Kind of brought him.
Did you see his video with Magneto and shit in it?
Yes, that's him. And he is pretty much the guy who launched Thunderfoot into the stratosphere of YouTube, because Thunderfoot made all these videos called something like fuck, I'm trying to remember. It's like reasons why people laugh at creation.
Reasons why people laugh at creationists.
Yeah, why people laugh at creationists, exactly. And so. Okay, where was I with all this? I'm starting to get a little sometimes.
Dave Arena.
Gamergate.
Oh yeah. So for years after the whole Venom Fang X thing, Jordan made I think mostly insightful videos about issues about feminism and stuff. He kind of picked a lot of very, very radical feminists and
well, like his video on the feminism attack on metal, and him sort of like reading just like the very obvious metal lyrics that are like very like left wing like metal. They did the study in like Oxford, I believe, where the thing that drives all metal like heads together is they don't take religion seriously, and they really don't like being told what to do. So these are all very like left-leaning people. So that's why Iron Maiden sings "Run to the Hills," not kill Indian people.
Right. I have a question for you then. Since we're talking about Gamergate, what do you think about the MRAs and the men rights activists then?
I think the MRAs, for the most part, are. I mean, I definitely like. I so would never be an MRA. Okay?
Yeah.
For the most part, I find, and you know what, I'm not a huge authority on this shit, so take it all with a grain of salt, but for the most part, I find these people to be pretty fucking sexist. I feel like they couch their they become MRAs in order to kind of have a shield for their kind of misogynistic views. That being said, I have come across some like for instance, Karen Strone is an MRA who I don't really agree with per se, but I think that her arguments are very well put forward. She's very thoughtful and whatnot. I think that I agree very closely with TJ when it comes to these matters, that you can't address the inequities of one sex by just purely having a worldview that is trying to address just one and more than the other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's strange because like the MRAs are like totally right when it comes to like custody battles. But that's kind of like where they draw the line. Because I saw like a very telling debate between the president of A Voice for Men. It was moderated by the vice president of A Voice for Men, and it was Matt Bender from the Majority Report. And Matt Bender's like an editor or producer on the Majority Report. And it became very clear to me that the MRAs, besides the one like legal like custody battle things that definitely go in women's favors, they really weren't looking out for men because like Matt Bender would bring up like the Code Pink sort of like main goals. Like Code Pink is all about stopping wars because men die in wars a lot, And then
Right.
when those men die in wars, like everyone's sad. There's like the whole families are broken up. And of course, when those men die and the war comes home, all these women and children are, they're the next victims of the war. And also, they wanted to stop these mass incarcerations, which infect men a lot. And like he just brought up like the whole like Code Pink platform, and Code Pink, they're the militant feminists who they do citizen arrests on Karl Rove and Dick Cheney.
Didn't they do that one thing where they broke into did the thing in Ontario? There was a male rights activation meeting, and they pulled the fire alarm to kick them out of the building.
Yeah, that's random folks. That wasn't Code Pink. Code Pink, they're
I didn't mention Code Pink. I just meant in like radical feminists in general. Speaking of wars,
yeah, radical feminists for sure.
Speaking of wars, what do you guys think of the situation in the Middle East as of right now?
Pretty shitty. What else can you say about it?
I mean, like, especially because I grew up, like, I went through high school through the whole like 9/11 thing, and I was like a military brat who's like my family was stationed over in Japan when all that happened. So I kind of try not to care too much about like wars and battles in the Middle East, because they like ramp that up just to get us into like the first wars. Like I remember like being in high school and going like, okay, yeah, obviously we go to Afghanistan, and then all of a sudden, without any debate or really any question at all, we were in Iraq. And I really didn't get that. And so like
Iraq hasn't attacked another country since the 19th century.
1960s, I think. They had...
No, it was 18...
They did try to invade Kuwait. Like, that did happen in the 90s. Because I lived in, my parents were stationed in England for that, and a lot of our military base, and we lived off base, so it was like fear-mongering for sure. It wasn't real, but we were all told to look out because Saddam Hussein had put like a bounty on the family members of U.S. servicemen. So like that was something I grew up with as a kid, and so I see that a lot with like our ISIS coverage, and I try not to care like so much about it, but like it is like an issue, and there's really nothing we can do, because if you cause like we're just throwing away our money if like we don't stay, and we don't want to stay because imperialism is like very faux pas. Like you can't do that anymore.
The situation in the Middle East and Africa wouldn't really be so bad if people hadn't just assumed that it was just land ripe for the taking, and they had more of an understanding of what the environment was like.
Yeah, like well, we see that with like Iraq, where a northern bit was actually supposed to be like Kurdistan, and like a big chunk that where like Baghdad's at. Those folks are very sympathetic to Iran, and the rest of the country where the Sunnis are at. They seem to have like neighbors around them that they are like sympathetic towards. So you definitely see where where they overdrew Iraq, where it's supposed to be 3 countries instead of 1, and that division is now just naturally happening, but through war.
Israel, they pretty much placed Israel in the worst possible place that it can be, right in the middle of the land that has been historically claimed by another group of people since I don't know how far back, but they placed it in the worst possible spot it could be. It's like surrounded by enemies. So nobody likes.
They've always been between the Assyrians and the Egyptians back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the whole ISIS thing, like I definitely hope, like wish for the best for the Kurds and the Iranians and the people of Iraq who are trying to like not die. I mean, there were Vice before it was Vice. Used to do a documentary called like Heavy Metal in Baghdad, where they talked about just like people like us, like some dudes trying to like make a metal band. They had to leave Iraq because they would get threats from like religious extremists, like here in America, where they're very much against fun music or anything that's good. Yeah, and they had to escape to Syria.
Yourselves, I have to go feed an animal.
Yeah, and then so like they did this whole documentary where these guys had to leave Iraq, where they under Saddam you were allowed to play heavy metal music, oddly enough, and they had to leave to Syria, where it's like a death sentence to play heavy metal music because they think it's like summons the devil. And
Obviously, it does. Goodness. Where have you been getting your information from, man?
exactly right. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Vadim?
You know, I feel like I'm a little more intelligent or informed rather on matters of the Middle East than your average American. That being said, I do not think that I have enough of a perspective on it to really give anything that would not be a trite kind of opinion. Yeah, it's fucked there,
Yeah.
and we all know that. The only thing that I'd say that I would say about how I feel is that I feel fuck Israel and fuck Palestine. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of people who play favorites with and think that there's a side that is right and the other one's wrong. No, they're both they both do very reprehensible things quite often. I think that Israel is obviously the one with more power, and so perhaps you can call them more culpable in a certain way, but you cannot still put Palestine off the hook. And that's all. That's the only thing that I would say about my particular point of view. I do not.
Yeah.
I do not play favorites with that.
Because both sides definitely practice racism. Like we've seen on the Daily Show, where Israelis will use the same sort of language that Fox News will use against black people in America. But at the same time, you do see like official Hamas like broadcasts that sound exactly like something like Hitler would say.
Sure.
Yeah. So you definitely see it on both sides.
About Hillary, do you think she's going to be the next president, or are you hoping someone else will be the next?
I hope not, but I mean, I certainly want a Democrat in there. I hope not. I mean, several months ago, the idea of a Bernie Sanders as president was just so fucking unbelievable to me, and it still seems like a huge outside shot. I mean, basically, I think
he has a chance of winning.
The corporations, he's not too principled, but he's so principled that he doesn't take big donations. He's not going to be taking like fucking hundreds of millions of dollars from every corporation under the sun and Wall Street and all of that. So you would just naturally think that money would crush him, but who knows? Maybe some sort of amazing thing could happen.
Do you think he has
like what happened with Eric Holder?
The primary? Do you think he has a shot at winning the primary?
Yeah,
I certainly hope so.
I do. I mean, I think he has a shot at winning like one or two states at least. And I also think that who knows? Maybe once he gets the thing is that once he gets to the not the primaries but the debates, then perhaps America will just go fucking crazy for him. Now, people haven't done that in the past when there's been a pretty good candidate who was debating. But the thing is that there wasn't a candidate like Bernie Sanders who had practically everything people want, even the fucking Republicans. If you poll Republicans on certain issues, I mean, it has to be worded in a way that makes them not realize that it's like a kind of considered a democratic issue. You know what I'm saying?
Everyone who likes to say that they're fiscally conservative, but socially liberal. It's you're just not an asshole anymore.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, there are all these sorts of things that he endorses that just people are like, yeah, fuck yeah. And hopefully people, it would be really cool if in a debate style situation, America just fell in love with him and all of a sudden it just was inevitable. But I mean, I feel like I'm daydreaming by saying that. And I would love to be proven wrong.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, like I'm much more Bernie Sanders guy than a Hillary Clinton. She's undoubtedly going to be a million times better than anything that the fucking Republicans are going to offer. But at the same time, she has so much of an allegiance to, the corporate bullshit that is dragging down America. And
well, it's all the exact same Obama donors who, after the fact, when we looked into, we were like, oh, we should have seen the Goldman Sachs. Like that was the key right there. Like whoever has the GS money is obviously going to be, the president who just does the same old thing as last guy.
Yeah.
So, on the topic of corporations, how do you feel about the TP, or is it the TTP or the TPP?
TPP.
I have to confess that's one thing. I really do try and kind of stay on top of all these things, and I know that I know it's the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and I've heard that that it will if it goes through. Has it gone through?
No, they keep trying to like shove it in.
Right. I've heard that if it goes through, it will kind of create a system in which corporations can easily create their own rules, more or less, and that sounds
sue governments.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. But outside of that, it's kind of another issue where I kind of feel like a little like I don't want to talk about it too much because I just feel like I'm woefully undereducated about the whole situation, and I'm the kind of person that kind of likes to know a little bit more, or like if it's
hard to all the documents
when I talk about things of this nature. So I don't want to kind of just go on about something that I may be actually sounding ignorant on.
Fair enough. I mean,
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about something when they don't release that much fucking information about the damn thing.
Sure.
What do you guys think about that whole? They have that whole idea of an American Union. I know it's crazy, but kind of making currency and trade easier between America, Canada, and Mexico, and some of the smaller Caribbean countries.
Yeah, I think that like for someone who like lives on New Mexico and like especially right next to El Paso and like Juarez, were like three sister cities. The whole idea that there would be a border or any restrictions between people like traveling between countries is just ridiculous. Because people like a lot of the instructors from here in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and like people who can't afford like health insurance, they have to go to Mexico to buy medication. And then people from Mexico, it's like they have family up here. They're the only ones who like do certain jobs around here. Because in America, we don't have any sort of repercussions for behaving like badly as an employer. So you can just get someone who has no legal representation or protection from Mexico to do jobs that someone from America would probably report to like a labor union about. And so down here, like that whole situation gets like exploited. So I personally would rather see like a completely open border. Because that would allow the workers from Mexico to finally have like the representation that we in America have, so that way they wouldn't have to put up with the crap, just like people in America are. So that way, like we wouldn't have to worry about this whole outsourcing of labor or anything like that if we're all on the equal playing ground, and not like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So are you suggesting like a North American EU?
Yeah.
Yeah, except without the weird like debt and wanting to shrink back like government programs that like Merkel wants to do. Because I thought I watched Democracy like now ever since I like ran a radio station up here and we had to broadcast it.
Didn't they have that
they
one
talk
study
about how Germany has never had to pay their debt.
Didn't they have that one study about how European millennials are more conservative, while it's the other way around in North America and South America?
Well, it's like racism and like xenophobia is starting to build up a lot in Europe. Especially like was it Poland was saying like they don't want any like Turkish immigrants, and It's weird, like even if you watch like old like programs from like the '80s, they talk about Turkey and Europe the same way we talk about Mexico here in the U.S. And what's funny about the whole like European situation is they're being like the richest country right now is Germany, the only country in history who's never had to pay their debts because after World War One, they had a whole bunch of debt, drove them crazy, and started World War Two. After World War Two, they just kind of gave them like debt amnesty, so they didn't have to pay for any of that. And it's just weird to see that they want Greece to do exactly what they refused to do after World War Two.
Did they have the thing is, didn't the one of the head EU's things, he said that if Britain wanted to leave the EU, that was fine, because apparently the goal of the European Union is to federate it. So, although I think if we did do something like that in North America, where we had an EU sort of thing, people would be worried about like states' rights and stuff like that.
Well, it's funny because the EU is sort of based off of America, how it's really easy to, like, if you're like a California business, to like trade with someone in like New York City, because you don't really have to move through countries, you move through states. And that was their original goal.
Yeah.
But it's weird because like
originally the United States, we were kind of like the EU, except they had currencies for each state. You would have like a Hoosier coin or something like that. And yeah. It was more EU-ish, and the reason Europe can't really agree on things like, sure, Missouri might like take money from California, and money from California might go to Missouri to like welfare programs. We all have one national identity as being like an American citizen. Well, however, in Europe, they're like Croatians, Germans, Italians, Dutch people, Belgians, Brits, Scots, Swedes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of them come from like more controlled areas too. That a lot of them are easier to govern. Like I know, like a lot of people here in America complain that they don't have gun rights the same way that the Swedish people do. But if you check out like a Vice documentary on Sweden, each bullet has to be registered over there. Or not Sweden,
Wow.
Switzerland.
Yeah,
Switzerland. My bad.
Yeah, Switzerland. That's the case.
Yeah,
Switzerland. Yeah, there isn't like a Western country where people like fucking walk around with their guns, you know, like with rifles and shit in like malls. Not that that happens all over America, but there are people, you know, I mean, who knows? It may happen more and more because these stupid motherfuckers like, you know, think that it's something worth like, you know, I don't know. They're trying to establish laws so that they can do it everywhere, and it's so fucking dumb. It's so fucking dumb because how do you know if
like
you
walk into like a nursery? Do you like walk into a nursery with like a grenade strapped to your belt and like an AK-47 swung over your shoulder?
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be that crazy. Like I play D&D a whole bunch at like a local comic book shop. We have like one dude who's sometimes like we kind of don't associate ourselves with him anymore, but like there's been several times he's walked into like the local comic book shop with his like gun. It was like a whole like German thing. He showed it like we go shooting and stuff, but it's like the whole idea of being able to like open carry out in the middle of anywhere or everywhere you want, that goes against everything that we know as like responsible gun owners. Like, you know, you keep it in your house, you keep it locked away, and then you go to a range, and like, you know, you don't want to like ban guns because then that creates like black markets and then everything's hard to like track. But like you can't be letting people like walk around with guns all the time. Like I don't really agree with this like culture of making it all right.
It on the fact that they don't recognize the fact that guns are so open that you can buy one across the street and you won't really need to have the laws that reinforce the thing that you got to be mentally stable to buy a gun. They aren't really reinforced. So
yeah, I think it's very loose. Yeah,
I remember just a few days after 9/11. I was living in New York at the time, and in New York City, and I stepped onto the subway, and there were some like they weren't police officers. I guess that they were like army people that were like stationed there just, you know, to kind of look over things for a little while, and they had rifles. And it was so shocking to me. And and these are people who should kind of like be like able to carry guns because they're part of our armed forces.
And it's supposed to be like an extraneous situation as well. After 9/11.
Yes. I mean, I understood. Like, it's not like I felt like they necessarily shouldn't be there, but it was a very shocking sight to me. You know? And it felt oppressive. That's really that was the thing that was the worst about it, is that it just felt like I did not feel safe around them, even though that they were there to make me feel safe. And I think a lot of people feel that way. And so so that's just a big reason why it totally sucks. And the thing is that it's like, you're a parent, you're in some fucking Walmart, some guy walks in with a rifle. How the fuck do you separate that person from somebody who potentially could be some crazy guy who's about to start picking everyone off?
Yeah, I've had like a fear of that. I have like a fear of that stuff. So like, see someone who's I'll go to like the store, I'll go to CVS, and I'll see someone who's walking around a little awkwardly, and I'll notice like the smallest little thing, and I'll be like, I don't know, is that a gun? Is that something else? Should I like do my stuff quicker? Should I leave the store faster?
Sure. Isn't it fucked up that that's like, something that we have to worry ourselves with?
Yeah, like right after Sandy Hook, people were blaming it on like, oh, we don't have enough God in schools. Oh, we don't have guards. It's they don't recognize the fact that if guns weren't so open, we wouldn't half the country wouldn't be crying over stuff like this. We would have the right to recognize, like, oh, we need to have tighter restrictions. You need to have your guns. You can't carry around a gun that can penetrate a tank in the backseat of your car.
What do you mean, George? Don't rat me out like that, George.
Yeah.
Damn.
But it's strange too, because there's also very much a double